Good morning from the Learning Counsel. We're here with Dan Stoneman, the Chief Innovation Officer of San Diego Unified School District. And Dan, can you provide us with a quick overview of San Diego's size, number of students, that type of thing?
So yeah, welcome from sunny San Diego here. It's a beautiful day. And San Diego Unified School District has been around San Diego for more than 150 years. We have 132,000 students, of which 26,000 of those go currently to charter schools. We have 52 charters in the district, and we have 106,000 students that are in our core K through 12 system.
Fantastic. Just so our viewers and listeners have an idea too of how much support is provided to those kids. What's your diversity ethnically, culturally?
We are a very diverse school system. We have more than 90 languages spoken in our system. We're also right on the border, so we're a binational school system. We have 47% Hispanic students, 23% white students, 16% African American students, and then a hodgepodge of other diversities. And not just our neighbors from the south, but for instance, we currently have a large Somali immigrant population who's here now. And so we are used to dealing with English language learners. We do use technology to help shore that gap up as well. And indeed, 27% of our student population are English language learners.
You've been with the district, I think, about 2.5 years, correct?
Yes, that's correct. I've been here for 2.5 years, and it was precipitated out of a new initiative here in San Diego called our I21 Now, Interactive Classroom of the 21st Century Now. And you can find us at I21Now.com of all the work that we did. But it was 107 key stakeholders got together and said, how do we envision the utilization of technology? How do we extend, accelerate, transform learning through technology in the future? And what does that vision look like? And we came up with 6 different areas of gaps that we needed to fill to really meet that mission of student learning and outcome through the utilization of technology. And along with that, the group formed a new job description of a new type of leader called the Chief Innovation Officer, which would replace the Chief Information and Technology Officer here at the district, take those responsibilities but add to them and attempt to be that bridge between not just here's your new shiny object for technology, but how does that technology meet the mission of student learning, student outcome.
That's very interesting because the conversation around the United States that the Learning Council is having is about this concept of sustainability and districts stepping back and taking a really larger view of the transitions that we're all going through. And other districts have taken academics and technology divisions and merged them, molded them, destroyed the silos that existed earlier. And it sounds like that's sort of what you're saying, what San Diego did is because you couldn't have tech that was like handling the boxes and wires in the back and never talking to the teachers and what's happening in the classrooms anymore. That wasn't working when you have the teachers actually using the technology on a digital platform in a classroom. Is this what really happened there?
Well, that's exactly correct. We just had to flip the model on its head before we could flip the classroom. And so the model that we flipped here was, in addition to this CIO role of understanding applications and technology and running all of that back office infrastructure, what we did is we put under this Office of Innovation, we put research and reporting. We put Educational Technology Division, which is professional development for teachers. We started a new online learning division. We put all that together, and instead of starting with the technology, we now start with what is our mission? What are the gaps in our mission? What is the research? How does the research inform us about the gaps in that mission? And then where can technology help to fill those gaps? So we just flipped it around and start with the research and the gaps that we want to fill today.
And tell me about the silos. Like, how do you collaborate, coordinate weekly, daily in San Diego?
Well, now we work as a cohesive team, and we agree with you. In education, there are many silos that have existed, and so we agree with you that that's a great need across the U.S. And here now we meet as a team regularly. Again, not as isolated technology and people who are managing and selecting technology for technology's sake, but again, starting with what is that learning outcome? What is the student engagement we're looking for? What's our frame of pedagogy? How are we looking for student self-efficacy, and how do we build that? And what does the research say about when you put a device in front of a student, how do you garner those types of outcomes? And of course, a lot of it has to do with teaching culture, professional development for teachers, and extending that opportunity to our teaching and learning staff as well. But that's why we've integrated into the Office of Innovation the Educational Technology Professional Development Team.
Let's talk a little bit about the way you're delivering to the kids, and what initiatives have you gone? I'm actually, we haven't asked you this, but are you one-to-one? How are the devices being used with kids? Are they signing them out at school each day? Are they kept in the classrooms? Do they take them home? And how are they doing their homework?
Well, sure. And for just a second, I'll step back to the sustainability piece. And so here in San Diego, we're very fortunate. We have voters who vote for educational bond programs, and we have a $5 billion bond program that affords us the opportunity to have sustainability around educational technology. And this bond program started some years ago, and we have actually had the money to put what some people would call one-to-one computers in every classroom. That is, we have carts full of computers that are in classrooms that afford access on a one-to-one basis to students. However, they are locked in carts, and what we wanted to do was take those out of the carts and give them to the students so that the students could garner that access and that equity, not just the 1,000 waking hours we have them in our classrooms every year, but the 5,000 waking hours outside of our classrooms every year to provide access and equity to that piece as well. So we embarked on building a new vision for not just one-to-one in the classroom, but one-to-one take-home. And we had 3,000 kids go through a pilot program the last couple of years with great effectiveness and great measured outcomes. And this year, we just launched a program where 16,000 kids are now taking home computers through this school year, through the 16-17 school year. And again, so far with really good results and outcomes.
What grade levels are those kids in the 16,000 test?
K-12.
Oh, all the way from kindergarten they're taking computers home?
It's funny, we started with middle school kids, of course, trying to close that gap in middle school with that gap of engagement and keep our kids in our system in the middle school years. And so we started with the pilot there. And it was funny, we had a lot of discussions here, and some individuals who said, well, you can't give a kindergartner a computer because they can't log in because they don't know their alphabet yet. And of course, we did put computers with keyboards in front of kindergartners, and what better way for them to learn their alphabet than having that computer in front of them and having that type of engagement activity. And these kids jumped right on it. And within a couple of weeks, the kids, and we have their name and a long 10-digit random password. And within a couple of weeks, these kids wanted to get into that device so badly that they learned how to access that keyboard and they learned how to log in.
Wow. Well, that doesn't shock me because my 2-year-old is incredible with my iPad, and he will open any app he wants and do whatever he wants. Great. Okay, and we sort of touched upon work at an executive level and divisions, but there was a new division.
We did start a new division of online learning as well to support this blended learning and online learning modality.
Okay. Okay, great. And they oversee this test, this 16,000 test?
Well, so you mentioned, sustainability, and we did talk a little bit about the financial piece, but there's also the sustainability piece of the whole system, and how does the system interact so that one component can be successful only if it's coupled with another. And so we felt that in order to maximally leverage a one-to-one program, we were going to have these other systems in place. And of course, one of them was this professional development opportunities for teachers. But another big component is to have a really good, rigorous curriculum, online curriculum for the blended and the learning modality. And so we did start a division of online learning here a year and a half ago. And we did bring in a whole new curriculum system, online curriculum system, which is what we call UC A to G. So University of California system, the state system, in order to get into a state school, you have to have A to G, these 7 requirements in your education before you go to the state institution or you can't get admitted. So we have this curriculum called UC, University of California, A to G system, and we brought in a whole new online curriculum, which is UC A to G certified, and we deliver that curriculum to our kids. And that was part of again the whole ecosystem that needs to be delivered. You can't just deliver a device, and even with the PD for teachers, you've got to have all these other components, including the access to rigorous curriculum, rigorous learning activity.
Great. Let's touch upon the PD for teachers. What are you doing to empower and support teachers that, you have maybe the millennial teacher that is very familiar with using devices and can sort of get going without too much help, but I imagine that's not everybody. How are you making sure these teachers can deliver digital curriculum well in a classroom?
Well, sure, and we've heard that, even though younger teachers may be more versed in how to use the technology, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're more versed in how to use that technology for student learning. And so what we've done is afforded teachers the opportunity to come into a classroom. We take them out of their classroom. Last year we did 22,000 plus teacher hours of training outside of the classroom. So we put a substitute in, we pull them out, and we afford the teacher that opportunity to learn about how to instruct with the device along our line and our pedagogical framework. And so we use different models for that. I mean, certainly there are, in educational technology, there are the most three kind of prevalent models and frames, and that is the SAMR model. Dr. Ruben Puentedura invented, SAMR. Substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition. And so certainly we use that frame to encourage teachers about how to go deeper into the learning experience with students. Another very prevalent model is TPAC, maybe the most prevalent model, technological, pedagogical, and content knowledge. And so we use that model. And so we teach teachers about what are the intersections, for instance, between something like our pedagogical frame and our technological frame, and how do we integrate those two so that the technology garners maximum learning leverage with the students. And so we have the ability to pull teachers out and teach them about utilization of the technology along with all of the other continuums of our learning frame here at the district.
Okay, great. And then you put them back into the classroom and watch them. What's your follow-up?
Yes, we have a team of 12 educational technology resource teachers, instructional specialists. Some districts call them instructional technology specialists, and those teams go around to the different schools. We have 6 of those, half of the team that supports general integration of technology within the schools, and then we have about 250 schools. But we have 44 schools of the 16,000 kids who now are one-to-one take-home. And so the other half of the team, the other 6 educational technology resource teachers, actually go into those classrooms and work directly with the teachers in the one-to-one program and provide better support as this program is recently launched.
That's fantastic. And what is San Diego's plans for that? Are you expanding the number? Do you plan to expand the number of those resource teachers? Because I'd imagine this split team of 12 people with how many schools you just told me, they're pretty thin.
Yeah, well, so it's interesting. Of course, I've been to some of your conferences and other conferences, and at one of them, I met the instructional technology person from Prince William Sound out on the East Coast, and she said that their model for instructional technology specialists was 1 instructional technology specialist for every 1,000 students. And so, of course, here in San Diego Unified, that means that we would have 132 of them. So, of course, I promptly came back here and tried to get, in my next budget cycle, 132 instructional technology specialists to support these initiatives, and we got turned down. So we did grow from 8 to 12, and maybe next year we'll be able to grow some more because we do believe in it. But we do have very restrained operational budgets. California is currently 47th out of 50 states in terms of its funding at the state level. And so we don't have enough money to fully fund what we think is a best practice, but we are stepping our way into it. So hopefully in this next budget cycle, maybe we'll get a handful more, maybe we'll get a handful more schools, and will continue to scale. And I think the other thing that's important to mention too is that when we think about this equity and access, we think about it for the kids that are the most needy. So in our district, we're 80% free and reduced lunch, but we do have a very disparate geographies socioeconomically. And so in our southeast, those are the kids who don't typically have a computer at home. We surveyed the students in City Heights, which is in the southeast part of our district, and 62% of those families don't have a home computer. And so that's where we start with the one-to-one program. It was in that area is where these 16,000 kids are taking home computers, because those kids otherwise would not have access.
Got it. Okay, great. And before, I want to make sure also I wanted to touch upon your infrastructure and networking to, was there a point at some point years back or recently where you had to upgrade infrastructure, confront going with providers? I'd sort of like to know what provider, who's working with you on the infrastructure to raise the broadband, the Wi-Fi connectivity, and how you're reaching homes. Sure. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
A couple of different things. Certainly, there is the core infrastructure at San Diego Unified School District. And we've done a lot of work over the last really 8 years to build out that infrastructure, again, with our bond program, since our $5 billion bond program got passed. And so we have probably the most robust infrastructure that any school system in the country has, especially this last year, because in this past year, we provided ourselves the opportunity to go back to market with a very robust RFP. We had all of the telecommunication providers respond to that RFP. And the winner of that RFP just about a year ago was Cox Communications. And they were the winner because they were more technologically advanced and they were cheaper than any other solution out there and faster. And so today, we now have at least 1 gigabit going to each and every school for our network, for a wide area network. And moreover, we have up to 20 gigabits of internet speed on the back end from 2 different providers as well. So we have plenty of internet capacity for growth for these types of one-to-one programs, and we have a robust wide area network to transport all of that traffic. So we put that in place first, and in addition to that, I guess I would say for the classrooms, we've outfitted 6,000 classrooms with Wi-Fi as well as part of our bond program, and in great partnership with E-rate funding. We've leveraged E-rate funding as much as we can to also put that infrastructure in place. So that piece has been solved, we think, in spades here, and we're very proud of that. The more challenging piece when we talk about this one-to-one is what do kids do at home? And that is challenging, and we've gone to the FCC to try and lobby to solve this nationally. Personally, I think that if one student in San Diego, California, USA has access to the infinite world of information that exists through a screen on the internet, and another student doesn't, I think that's a tragedy. I just personally think it's tragic in America. And so I believe we should solve it as a nation. I believe it should be a national web of something so that all 55 million K-12 students have access to the internet, because I believe we're holding kids back, and I just don't think that's fair. So we've lobbied to that end. Those things have not been funded, and so to try and close that gap in the interim, we've gone to philanthropic partners. We've gone to apply for grants. We were one of 11 schools in the nation who recently won to be a pilot for Sprint's 1 million project. So Sprint has philanthropically, the philanthropic side of Sprint and the leadership there has set its eye on donating 1 million free devices, both the device and the service, over the course of the high school career for socioeconomically disadvantaged students in America. Great program. And so we are a beta site for that. We just launched that this year. We hope to be in the full program next year. We have other philanthropic partners in the community. We've gone to community stakeholders here who work with those communities directly in Southeast San Diego. And we've got other grant programs that we've started to develop to try and close this gap. But that internet piece at home is really the challenging piece. One other thing we did is form partnerships with local businesses in Southeast San Diego to put stickers in the window for San Diego Unified students, free Wi-Fi accessible here. Please come in and sit and do your homework if you want. And so we have these little partnerships around town and philanthropy, but we'd really like to solve that more globally. If you maybe you can help.
That's a fantastic point, though, that you actually created a San Diego Unified sticker that a business could say kids can come do their homework inside, whether it be a Starbucks, McDonald's, some local deli, this kind of thing.
Absolutely. Yes.
I guess that would be like libraries as well, of course.
Well, yeah, and then we load an application on these one-to-one take-home devices, which is a Wi-Fi access application, which has a map of all of these sites on it so that students and their parents can search where free Wi-Fi is accessible as well.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, there was a school I spoke with up in Indiana who actually a project of one of the senior students is he went across the entire county and he mapped with some kind of algorithm he built, Google mapped it so that from anywhere a student could find every location in the county where he could get free Wi-Fi for his homework. They put that on their
Absolutely.
website and all this kind of thing. It was really neat to see. That's my questions. Did anything not get hit on?
Well, I think one other facet that we're very proud of here are the partnerships that we built. We talked about some of the partnerships that we built with industry, but one of the most important ones is a partnership with Google. And so when I arrived here 2.5 years ago, we did not use Google in the district. We were very centric on other tools, and we reached out to Google and we worked with Google to help build a better vision for their tools. I had a lot of discussions about walled gardens for access to content and walled gardens with access to YouTube. Indeed, as an outcropping of part of those discussions, Google does have a new walled garden tool for YouTube. So we have deployed YouTube for K-12 across the district in a very safe fashion now. And we've deployed Google Tools, G Suite, as well as Google Classroom across the district as well. Moreover, Google has come out personally because we went through a robust process to select the next generation tool set as well. And the Chromebook won that process, and we just recently deployed 47,000 Chromebooks in the last 6 months, which Google mentioned was probably the fastest, largest Google Chromebook deployment in the world so far. And so they came out and they provided some free professional development on top of that. And we're very proud of this partnership that we've developed with Google, and we're very proud of how Google is helping us provide value to our students and our families.
Very cool. Is there any other big digital curriculum providers that are sort of your staples, whether it be apps or publishers that you're using in the district?
Well, of course, all of our core district functioning for staff and teachers is a Microsoft back office standard suite with Microsoft Outlook and the Microsoft suite of products. And so Microsoft is a very critical partner as well for us on the staff side. And so we've leveraged more of Google on the student side recently, but historically Microsoft has been a very good partner of ours.